Now I got to take this back up there and quit playing with it. Maybe I'll play with it a little bit more. Shelley's not here, so I get to play with it. Once she gets here, she'll be playing with it. Here we go. Hey everyone, this is Martin, and I just took delivery on a piece of equipment a little bit ago, and I'm sitting in it right now off back in the woods, and it's not my piece of equipment, so let's get that clear right now. This is going to the backwoods bug out that our kids have, and I'm going to put a link to their channel up here so you can kind of go check out what they're doing. And because it's 100% off-grid, a couple of shipping containers built into the side of an Ozark mountain, and very fascinating process. Anyway, in getting this equipment today, I got to thinking about the necessity of equipment and how to go about prioritizing what you get. Now, this is a 4-seat ATV, nice big one. And I would love to have something like this on our property back at the Campfire Trail, which actually that's where I'm at right now. But you know, it really hasn't reached the level of priority that it would need to for me to commit the money to it. And when you're looking at equipment, I mean, that is a big factor in everything. And I mean, that kind of goes without saying, it's sort of obvious. But the real question comes down to, you know, as you're moving out onto a piece of land or making a move to a more backwoods homestead, off-grid, or even a prepping kind of a lifestyle, you are going to need equipment along the way. And a lot of that's going to be dictated by what you're trying to do and the priorities that you have in your life. And, you know, this, for me, here at our Campfire Trail property, it would not really be practical. I mean, we've got a tractor, we've got Jeeps for 4-wheel drive to get back into the woods if we need to go there. We've got a, you know, a tractor with a backhoe and a bucket, and those kind of things take priority over something like this. Now, we're at the backwoods bug out. You know, they feel that they're blazing a lot of trails down there because they've got a lot more land and it's out in the middle of nowhere. And they need to be able to get around down there before they really get things too established. And so this to them is a practical piece of equipment that they would need to do. You know, around where we're at, the focus was on self-sufficiency. And of course, a lot of the off-grid things, the homestead things, and even the prepping things apply to that. But in what we were doing, you know, this doesn't necessarily fit that bill, where a tractor, on the other hand, did, because we were opening up the woods, building trails, or not trails, but actually roads, driveways and roads around the place, and needed to be able to remove trees, needed to be able to, you know, grade out roads, spread rock, dig foundations, dig utility lines where we were putting water in, and where we were running electricity from our solar plant over to the cabin, and from the garden where we have the solar panels down to the solar plant where all of the equipment was. You know, we needed to be able to do a lot of those things. And then in the process of it, we also needed a brush hog. I wanted to be able to clear some of the brush out down here, so that was important. Needed a box blade. That was important to keep the roads kind of stable. And even, believe it or not, you know, you wouldn't think that a forklift or a pallet fork on the front of the tractor would be that important. But as we got into things down here, that became the most necessary tool for moving larger chunks of logs that we were cutting into firewood from one place to the other, like up to the splitting area where we split the wood and stacked the firewood. So, I mean, there was a lot more reasons why that was important to us than, you know, something like this right now. This is on our wish list, but we're not there to the priority list. You know, another thing that you have to kind of consider is especially if you're starting out kind of fresh and new, you know, a lot of times budget dictates where your priorities set, because I mean, obviously if you're really wanting to get out on a piece of land, you're going to need some equipment that enables you to help to do that. But if not, if you're just getting started and food preservation or prepping is is more of a higher priority to you. Even the things like the canning equipment is equipment that's necessary equipment. And you can get started with that kind of stuff, if food preservation, for literally maybe $100 to get into the basics of food preservation. And that's if you bought everything new. With the initial water bath canning supplies and all of the things that goes along with that. And then if you need to move up to pressure canning, of some things required pressure canning, that's only another $100 on top of that. Again, if you're buying new. If you can buy all of this stuff used or from friends or family that have it that don't use it anymore, then it can be much, much, much less. And but that's all part of the necessary tools and equipment that you need when you're starting some kind of a journey like this. And you may look at some of this, and a lot of channels I know, I'll watch a lot of channels as well, and they've got excavators or skid loaders or tractors or things like that, and it's like, how do they afford all of that? Or tools to build a house, things like that. How do they afford all of that? And a lot of that just comes over time. You just accumulate it over time. And I know a few people, this doesn't obviously reflect everybody, but I know a few people that just simply think that it all just happens all at once. And, a lot of that kind of stuff doesn't. It happens a little at a time. Like me collecting the tools to build a house with. I've been doing that for years. And my dad built houses. I kind of learned how to build houses with him. And I've been accumulating the tools for years. When we started going into food preservation and like the canning, that was a different story. We'd done it in the past, but we'd gotten rid of all of our stuff. So we had to make an investment to go out and get those things, those tools, to start doing that activity at our place. There's mosquitoes down here. It rained the other day. Now we get mosquitoes. One of the bigger investments that we made this year, that we really wanted to do to have long-term for food preservation, was a freeze dryer. And that wasn't something that you just decide to do and you go do it. You have to kind of plan for that a little bit ahead of time, or at least most of us do. And so that was a big expense, but that's a tool or a piece of equipment that enables us to do what we're doing. Now, from a money point of view, those of you that have looked into freeze dryers know that they're pretty expensive. And you can't, the companies that we looked at actually have a financing program for them, so you can do that. We didn't do that. We just kind of waited till we could just go ahead and pay for it and be done with it. And but as expensive as that was, we've had it now for maybe 6 months, and we've already set back enough garden produce and food that probably, if we were to go out and have bought all of that food, we would probably already paid for half the price that it cost us to buy the food dryer in the first place. And so all of the equipment does capture back its investment at some point. And you just have to find out, what's the highest priority for you, and kind of move in those directions if you don't have money to just go out and buy everything. Which, if you know people that are like that, good for them. But for the most part, it's you buy it a little at a time as you can afford it. So you just have to set the priorities as you can afford the equipment that goes along with it when you find that you need equipment. Now, there will come a time, and it's like that with us, with the building and the construction tools. I really don't need tools anymore when it comes to building. I've got everything that I really need and have had it for a while. So, what I have to buy now is I've got to go buy new saw blades and new drill bits and stuff like that, as I break them or wear them out. And so it's not like I'm having to buy a lot of tools with that, so I can focus my energies on other things because I've already got that taken care of. And you will begin to get those things taken care of in your life as well. It's just figuring out, again, what is it that's the main priority to you, and then what equipment goes along with those priorities. And you'll be able to do it. It's just, you may not be able to do it all at once. You may not even be able to do it as fast as you want to, but you will eventually be able to, get the equipment that you need, as long as it's an important enough priority for you. And so I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to kind of make it a short video today. When it comes to the tools and the equipment that you need to do what you want to do, to achieve what you want to achieve, don't be afraid to set a priority and get them in the order that's the most important to you. And sooner or later, you will be like a lot of those YouTube channels out there where you do see the little mini excavator, and you do see the tractor, and you do see the freeze dryer, and you see all of that kind of stuff in there. And you end up seeing a lot of that on our channel as well. We still don't have all of the things that we want to get, but you will end up, working your way in that direction. And pretty soon there's going to be people looking at you like, how did they get all of that stuff? Well, you get it a little at a time as the importance of it rises to the priority of what you're trying to do and accomplish on your place. So anyway, I encourage you with that. If you need the equipment, you'll find a way to get it eventually, even if you have to start out with something that's used or maybe lesser quality. Chainsaws is one of those things. I started out with cheap chainsaws. After a few years, it's like, I need to get a good chainsaw. So I upgraded to a good chainsaw, and I've had the same chainsaw, and I've got multiple chainsaws now, but the one that I mainly use is now over 45 years old, and it's still going strong because it was a good one. And so you'll get there. You trust me, you'll get there. Figure out your priorities, match your tool and equipment purchases to your priorities, and eventually you're going to get there. If the video had any value to you, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, and we'll see you next time. Now I got to take this back up there and quit playing with it. Maybe I'll play with it a little bit more. Shelley's not here, so I get to play with it. Once she gets here, she'll be playing with it. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and a share, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. See you next time.